the executive director of USA Strong. Nice to see you, Erin. It was that middle class in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin in particular, that put President Trump in office, that was surging prior to COVID, not so much anymore. Can they re-elect President Trump given the state of the economy?
Well, if they really dig in and do the research, they'll realize that Joe Biden is horrible for these Rust Belt swing states. He wants to totally get rid of fracking, which Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan will be impacted by severely. He wants to raise taxes on 82% of Americans. This is going to impact the middle class like nobody's business. And if you just look at history, after 8 years of Obama-Biden, there were 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty, lowest labor participation rate since the 70s, worst economic recovery since the 40s, and lowest homeownership rate in 51 years. So this is all math. This is all statistics. This is all history repeating itself with Joe Biden. President Trump showed you what he could do. And the coronavirus was no fault of his own. It's that Chinese coronavirus that really impacted America. And Bill Clinton, we heard him speak last night, he was echoing how great Joe Biden would be. Meanwhile, he wouldn't even be welcome in the Republican or Democrat parties today. He would be completely ousted on both sides. Back in the day, by the way, he used to support a border wall and deporting illegal immigrants. So his speech last night definitely wasn't really up to snuff.
No, the party has moved miles to the left since the days of Bill Clinton. But I'm curious about that middle class. How did the Obama-Biden years compare to the beginning of the Trump presidency, really prior to COVID? Because no one saw this situation economically coming.
Certainly not. And I think those statistics I just read to you are a pretty good indication of where we stood. We saw President Trump bolstering the economy, helping African-American unemployment seek new heights, all minority employment, female unemployment. So we already saw it. The proof is in the pudding. The data is there. The math is there. President Trump was amazing for the economy, and he will be again.
And so what does that left do if they are elected? Because they're presenting an image of moderation, of aiming towards that middle class. But we all know, and we were reminded by AOC last night, there was a lot of mentions of Bernie Sanders, including by AOC nominating him for president. Can a Biden-Harris administration, should they win, keep that far left side of the party at bay, or will they govern as the extreme left?
That's what's terrifying about Biden. We don't know what he really stands for. We do believe that he's suffering from a little bit of perhaps early onset dementia. He has no platform that he believes anymore. You know, we had John Kasich on the first night, who was basically a sore loser, and he was saying, don't worry, everybody. Biden is very moderate. And then we had Bernie coming on saying he's a good voice for the progressive movement. There's no unity within the own party. We saw infighting basically between AOC and Michelle Obama. We saw AOC not saying anything positive about Biden except for in a tweet much later. So there is no unity. There is no message. The platform is an absolute disaster, and he's just a shell puppet for the left. We don't know who is the puppet master. It's a terrifying proposition.
All right, so let's spin forward to next week in the RNC. How much would you like to see President Trump focus, stick-on message on the economy, on the middle class? If there's a common critique from the right, it's that he gets a bit off message. So what would you like to hear next week?
So I often hear that as well, as someone that knows the president, has in the past worked with the president. But I think when he doesn't use the teleprompter and he speaks directly to the American people, that's what got him elected in the first place. That's why they like his Twitter. That's why they like his realism. He's a little rogue. He's not necessarily the most refined. And I understand that some people may not love the way that the message is delivered. But I think the average kitchen table American voter wants to hear it straight from President Trump, not written off a speech, not from the bunker like Joe Biden does, not taking questions from the press. They want to see it raw. They want to see it real. And I think that's what President Trump should do. He should stick to it. I predicted that the RNC is going to be light years above the DNC. And I liked Marianne Williamson. Remember her? She was the very out to lunch Oprah confidant that ran in the primaries against Biden. She called the DNC, I believe, an extra long Marriott commercial, and she couldn't be more right. It is an absolute snooze fest, and I think that the RNC is going to be exciting with interesting guests talking about interesting things that the right wants to see, and that swing state voter and that undecided voter is really going to get behind. An
extra long Marriott commercial. Interesting description. Erin Elmore, USA Strong, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, keep it right here on Newsmax. Austin.